Hey there, friends. This is Eric the Pug. Thanks for checking in with me. Today, I wanted to do a general overview over how to make plants in Blender for Unity. This won't be a blow-by-blow tutorial. This is going to be more of a overview, and I want to go over a couple of gotchas. All right, so let's get started. So in Blender, the most obvious way of making trunks for trees is to go into Preferences and enable Sapling Tree Gen. And you can go ahead and hit Add, Curve, Sapling Tree Gen. It creates this tree which actually is curves, so you can actually bend and edit it. Also, you're going to go into these settings and wrestle with them for quite a while before you get something that you're happy with. Once you do so, I highly recommend saving it as a preset so that you can come back to it. All right, so the way I'm making the foliage is I'm going to just blob on meta balls onto the branches and work with it until I'm happy with the shape, and then I'm going to convert them all into a mesh, and that will provide me with a mesh that I can use geometry nodes to generate instances of leaves. Okay, so for this tree, I want three LODs. I want up close, I want it to look like this, more blobby and indistinct, and the furthest LOD will be larger blobs, right? And here you have it. This is my leaves object. It's three crossing planes that I joined together into a single object, and it's UV'd with the texture on it. All right, so we're going to use geometry nodes to turn one of these meshes that we made out of the meta balls into this, which is a bunch of instances of our leaf object. This is the geometry node setup that I'm using. It's pretty much a standard distribute points on faces kind of setup with a random rotation value. Important thing to note is that you're going to want to realize instances. You don't need that. You're going to want to realize instances so that when you hit apply, that the geometry actually turns into geometry. And also, you're going to probably want to pull out the density of the distribution and also have a size value, because when you're messing with those three LODs, you want the closest LOD to be denser, and then the further LODs will be less dense but have possibly slightly larger leaf objects. Okay, so at this point, if you're still with me, you're probably pretty excited to hit apply on your geometry nodes object and export the FBX into Unity and get on with your life. However, this is the first major gotcha, is if you do that, what you're going to find is the UV maps are wiped out. So what you got to do is you got to go into the material that you have in Blender for the leaves, make one. Up, what you're going to do is you're going to add this attribute node in shading, call it UVMap, send the vector into a mapping, and then send that vector into your image map. In this case, I'm using the image map only for the alpha. Part 2 of this nightmare is go to your object data properties, go into UV maps, and hit the plus. Okay? And that makes sure that the object exports with its UV map, and so it will be happy in Unity. Okay, are you still with me? Well, we're not in the clear yet, because if you bring your awesome leaves into Unity now, you're going to find that the lighting looks absolutely like garbage. And that is because of some mysterious feature called split normals. So go ahead, select your foliage leaf object, go into edit mode. I'm going to go up to viewport overlays, and down here in normals, you want this middle option. Split normals is the middle option. The normals that we're used to dealing with are on the right, and vertex normals are on the left. We want split normals only. We want to make sure we're in vertex mode. I'm going to go ahead and hit A to select all, right? A. And what you're seeing, these hairs, these purple hairs, are the split normals, and you can see that they're just pointing in all kinds of crazy directions due to the rotation of the instanced objects. So what we're going to do to fix the lighting is we're going to go Mesh, Normals, Point to Target, and I'm going to just click in the background. And what you're going to see is they're going to point all towards 0, 0, 0. They're going to point to the origin. Go ahead and click Invert. And invert actually, if you're pointing all these at the origin, you're going to get a pretty decent result with just clicking invert, because all these normals are now pointing up and outward. Wow. So now that you're aware of all of those gotchas, you know that you need to realize instances in geometry nodes. You know that you have to assign the attribute in the material for UVMap, and also add the UVMap to the object's data. Also, you know about the gotcha involved with split normals, which would make your lighting on the object look terrible. With all that stuff taken care of, you should be able to come up with a pretty decent looking tree for Unity. I hope someone finds this useful. I'm Eric the Pug, and Ohanami Otanoshimu.